record. Here we go. Welcome into a special edition. If I can get these mics, there we go.
I'm excited for this one.
Welcome into a bonus episode, special edition Sports Tonight. I am a little nervous about this
Don't
episode.
be, just, it doesn't even have to be official. You already started off way too official. Like, this is a bonus episode. Be relaxed,
We're being chill, or as the kids say, nonchalant.
Oh, gosh. Jeez.
We are going to go off the beaten path a little bit. Usually we come in here, we talk about the latest of what's going on in Atlanta sports, in the sports world. But no, tonight we're going to make it a little more personalized. We're going to have some fun. We're going to make it a little evergreen. We're going to get to know Aaron Ladd a little bit better.
We're going to get to know Bailey Burmaster a little bit better.
So we've come up with some new topics. We're going to talk about growing up in Atlanta, maybe some fun stories. Then we're going to move into the college glory days, went to Mizzou, went to Oklahoma State, see what fun stories, maybe even sports-related stories we can share. Our favorites on and off the court. Dating adventures since being adults, which I just...
It's the main event right there.
Why we
Stick around for that one. I heard a little pre-pro on that. That's worth sticking through.
Absolutely. you gotta go off the rails sometimes. And when did we fall in love with sports? So... let's start off strong. We'll set the scene for everyone of growing up in Atlanta. Aaron, what was it like being in Atlanta, Stone Mountain, a Parkview Panther?
Parkview Panther. I spent some time at Greater Atlanta Christian as well, so I kind of bounced around. And
you went to GAC?
I did for 2 years. I did half, so high school.
That makes so much more sense.
Oh, no.
That makes so much more
private,
sense now.
Half public, and I realized like where I actually fit in a little bit more. Where I got best of both worlds that way, I think.
So what kind of crew did you hang out with at GAC?
I was always like the nerdy kid or the kid that like was hanging with athletes but was never athletic, if you will. Like I love sports. I was on all the teams, baseball, basketball, football. Cleanest uniform after every game though.
So what
like they did not have to worry about
played left bench.
Yes.
What year did you graduate high school? Because I'm trying to figure out if we have overlap of friends.
I'm afraid to
GAC.
admit that. So I finished high school in 2014.
Okay, so did you know, like, Bo Abear at all, the Abears?
No, but that name sounds familiar,
They're older,
though.
You would know them.
No, the name sounds familiar,
They got sports
though.
connections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did the Parkview GAC route. I did.
Who has the better athletes? GAC, because you could rep Davis Mills, or you go into Parkview, where I think that list might be a little bit longer.
I'm going to go Parkview because currently Parkview is on. I mean, Matt Olson obviously is doing his thing. Frank Core did his thing for so long. Matt Stitch comes in the medium and did Parkview for a while. And then they've had guys recently. I know this year hasn't been great, but they've had guys.
Yeah. Okay. So you never answer the question. Are you a Spartan or are you a Panther?
I'm a Panther. That's where the diploma says. So I'm going Parkview Panther. Now it's your turn. You're on the hot mic. Give us your growing up, where your allegiances lie, and all that.
Yeah,
good
I'm
stuff.
a Peachtree Ridge line.
Gwinnett's in here.
GCO. I started at Peachtree Ridge right when it was pretty new. I would have gone to Duluth otherwise. GCO really bust out a lot of athletes. I don't think people realize that. I mean, I could name people who went to
Lou Will. Shout out Lou Williams.
To Peachtree Ridge. We had Cam Hayward, Connor Hayward. His brother Corey played at Georgia Tech. Bradley Roby. I remember. I know
Did
Kevin
one of the
Minner.
Migos play at Peachtree Ridge?
No,
or was that
I want to say they were Berkmar but they.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember they used to sell mixtapes in the parking lot.
You're dating yourself there a little bit.
No, I know, but the best part is like people used to clown them for it.
I bet they weren't clowning them after that.
Look at them now. Did you get in a lot of trouble when you were in high school, or were you just a nerd through and through?
No, troublemaker as a...
Were you really?
Yeah, so I'm an only child and a preacher's kid and a Leo on top of that. So it's like a very evil concoction of like...
Oh my God, we should have done an astrology, an astrology tab. Okay, we're going to have to make another Off the Rails Sports Tonight just for that. Oh, God, man.
Yeah, it's like a narcissist cocktail, I think.
Yeah.
And then you add in the TV element of it and like front facing
so you're
on
like
camera.
a little deeply insecure.
I always felt like I could like smooth talk my way out of a punishment, though. Like, I'd get to the principal's office and be like, you don't have to really call Mom. You don't have to. We can settle this up. Me and you can settle this up right now. You don't have to call her. She always got called, though. So, yeah, I was a troublemaker.
Okay, so biggest trouble you got in trouble. What did you do?
I cannot say that. I cannot say that on air.
No.
It was bad.
If you're going to lose your job, don't say it because, you just got here.
No suspension or anything.
Okay.
Like, the biggest trouble I ever got in was literally a call home to Mom. Okay. So it was never anything where it was, like, real disciplinary action. Okay. I think I maybe did one day ever of detention in high school. So
I have a great story.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
Actually, I have two. So one of my favorites is when I was in 4th grade, I failed a math test. I got a 32 on it.
4th grade?
4th grade. I'm still really bad at math. I'm bad at numbers, so that's why I'm in sports.
Nice.
So anyway.
You got in trouble for failing a test in 4th grade?
No, I had to get my dad to sign it. Or a parent to sign it.
Plagiarized.
Me playing chess, not checkers. My dad had a stamp with a signature on it at his desk.
Ooh.
So I went and stamped it.
Oh, why would you do that? That's too easy.
And I went and turned it back in. And I'm, yeah. Well, I keep failing math tests. And at the parent-teacher conference,
they had no idea.
They're like, she's still struggling, but you signed this, and I'm just curious, like, have you guys been working with her? And my dad goes, I didn't sign that. And my mom starts getting mad because she's like, Brad, you signed that. And he's like, I didn't sign that. And so they get in a big little quarrel about it.
And
they
then
come
the light
home,
bulb went off.
And, my dad's a yeller. So he's like, Bailey, get down here. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, okay. So I go down. And he goes, who signed this? And I stood 10 toes down. I'm like, you did that.
You didn't even admit it? Wow.
And he goes, you're lying? Who signed it? I said, you just don't remember. He crumbles it up, tosses it at me. He goes, stop lying. And I said, okay. I used your stamp.
Wow.
And he goes, what stamp?
How dare you?
Correct. Long story short, I got grounded for like a week.
Okay. Phone taken away? Did you have a phone at that point?
No, I was...
Did they have phones at that point?
The shots fired.
Was it the rotary where you laid down?
Remember the ones that had Snake on it?
Okay.
It was like that era. But no, I didn't have a phone yet. I go upstairs, but I sat on the stairs and just hear what my parents would say. And my dad goes, shaking his head, he goes, that's genius. Whose kid is that? And I just felt like I went up to my room and was like, you know what?
You were proud.
I won. The other time I got in trouble at school, I actually got away with it. It was 8th grade. I went to Hull Middle School, and we had this thing called the hullabaloo.
The hullabaloo.
So you have tug of war.
Oh, like field day, maybe.
Yeah, field day.
Sure.
Well, one of the fields is the egg walk. And one of the guys had stolen an egg and was like, someone needs to egg this kid. Should I say his actual name?
No, do not. Protect his identity, please.
Okay, we're going to call him Drake.
Random
and
name.
So someone was like, will you egg Drake? And I was like, they're like, if there's anyone who has the guts to do it, it's you.
Oh, jeez.
I said, why not?
You had a reputation.
No, yes and no. Yes and no at the same point. So I get this egg from Drake, or from the friends, and after he wins tug of war, I go,
oh, jeez. You're a bully, by the way. I just want to make that absolutely clear. That's what I'm figuring out from this story.
I was not a bully at any point. I was actually bullied.
You were peer pressured into this.
I was bullied. I can tell you about my first Georgia interaction. That's what we'll go after this. So anyway, I said, Drake, congratulations. You looked so strong. And he's like, oh, thanks.
Oh, he rizzed him up.
And then I smacked it on top of his head. Egg went everywhere. Me and my friend go running. He lost his mind, like hopped over cafeteria tables to get to my friend and confront her. What do? I immediately fake sick so I can go home. All of a sudden,
couldn't even stand 10 toes down on it?
No.
Wow.
No, just wait, it gets better. So I fake sick. I get my mom to come pick me up. I'm in the front office, and he walks out of the principal's office in a new shirt and everything, and I see him. And I'm following my mom at the door, and I just turned around, and I look at him, and I said, I'm sorry. Wow. And then I left, and I never got in trouble. Nothing ever came of it. I got away with it.
Not the first time Drake has had egg on his face in 2024.
That was well timed. What was the other story I told you I was going to tell you about?
Georgia, the first Georgia story.
Oh,
Georgia
so I moved here from Connecticut, and I had no friends. And I was a really big tomboy growing up. So I would wear like a matching Adidas outfit, tennis
Swag.
shoes, and my hair in a ponytail every day.
Drip.
Well, because I had no friends, I would go sit under the playground set by
Come
myself
on.
because it was shaded. Well, it's hot. It's Georgia. There's
Sure.
bugs, so I would
Humid.
swat at bugs.
Yeah.
And we'll call this girl Joni and Megan. Joni and Megan one day come up to me.
Were these like the it girls? Were they like the
Yes.
mean girls from
No,
they
they
had
were
pink
the
on
it
and everything?
girls.
I see. Okay.
And
they saw prey sitting over there under the tree.
If there's a villain origin story,
This is
this is
this is the moment
This
that
is
everything
mine.
changed.
Because don't get it twisted. I know their first and last name still to this day.
Jeez.
They kick mulch at me
Wow.
and say, "Are you the girl who sits under here every day and wears tennis shoes and swats at gnats and wears their hair in a ponytail?"
The
And
voice.
I just looked at them and I was like, I guess so. I guess that's me. And Megan turns away and Joni's sitting there and Joni goes, "We'll see if you can hang out with us." It was like very Mean
Ooh.
Girls.
So they were like jumping you into the gang,
Yeah.
basically. They were trying to see if you were tough
Yeah.
enough to really like be a part of the
And
crew.
meanwhile, I'm like,
I don't know anybody
Can I
here.
just go
Just
home?
leave me alone. Yeah.
yeah. And they turn around and I can't remember what was said, but they basically were sorry you can't hang out with us. And that was that. And then I chose to become a villain and a bully. Just kidding. I never bullied anyone. But I chose that day after that to like.
I will never be bullied again.
Yeah. Like,
from
I
that
don't, who
point
do you think
forward.
you are? So that was growing up in Atlanta for Bailey Burmaster.
I was word got back to my mom at one of those parent teacher conferences that I was like making fun of a kid for what he was wearing.
Oh.
So for the next 2 weeks, I had to wear the same exact outfit, and it was not a good outfit at all. Like I thought I was gonna cheat the system by like wearing a jacket and like taking the jacket off, and
No.
I had to wear sweats for 2 weeks straight. And from that point forward, I never talked
Could
about
they be
anybody's
washed?
clothes. I don't remember that aspect of it, but it was not a great outfit. I
There's
remember
nothing worse than a bad outfit. It's also a smelly outfit.
on the second week of that, I was like, I will never talk about anybody again.
You were like, I'm going to be nice to everyone.
Lesson learned.
Okay, so then you go to college. You go to Mizzou.
I do, yes. I was
Are
on.
you still a nerd?
No, we had entered the stoner phase at this point in time.
Okay, we love the honesty.
Yeah,
Honesty.
you know, I was, trying to see where I fit in, and this was like a big culture shock too. Like going from Atlanta to like Missouri, like mid-Missouri. Not a lot of people who like looked like me or like had similar interests. So I kind of just honed in on what made me special, and at that point in time, that's what I thought made me special.
That's how we're going to phrase that.
Yes.
Okay, or you know what? Just own it. If that's what you're going to say, own it. Okay.
But I went from, so I was like editor-in-chief of the school newspaper. I knew journalism was going to be it. So I was editor-in-chief of the school newspaper at Parkview in high school, and then immediately, once I got to Mizzou, jumped into student media, did newspaper there, did the student TV station there. So that was when I really started to hone in, all right, yes, this is something that interests me, but how do I turn it into something that I can make money at?
Did you get in any trouble in college?
One time, yes.
Are you going to lose your job if you share this story?
No, and I feel like most college kids have done this. I did plagiarize. I know, especially for a journalist. That's like,
you just lost all credibility.
It was like one of those, it was like a class where, and I still remember, it was like economics of journalism, where there were
what did
3
you
big
plagiarize?
exams, and everybody got together
I'm
in
kind
a
of questioning this hire now,
group.
man. What are we doing?
We would all get together in a group and be like, all right, Bailey, you take question number 1, because it was like essay responses. 3 big questions, but it was like an essay each.
Okay.
So you take question 1, I'll take question 2, Lee will take question 3, and then with 30 minutes left, we'll all kind of get together and like change up the words and move it around.
Okay.
And of course they found out. They wised up to it, and like my grade the day before the final exam was like a 45, so there was no possible way I was going to pass. Learned my lesson from that point on. It's not worth it. Do your own work, essentially. That would be the big lesson learned. If there's any kids or college students at home that are watching this and thinking like, hey, I can get away with it, I'm smarter than the system or whatever, they're going to find you. Don't plagiarize. I'm sorry. We're being honest on the bonus episode.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
never
it.
plagiarized since then.
I was not a loser ever. I
Ooh,
wouldn't say I
whoa.
was.
Excuse me.
I wasn't the popular girl, but I was in the popular group. Like I wasn't like. Let me put it this way: I was on prom court, but like absolutely knew I was not winning.
Okay. I was never on the court. Can't relate.
you know.
It's lonely at the top, huh?
It is. It is. So I go to college. I played soccer at Oklahoma State. I've talked about it before.
So what was your college recruiting process like?
Okay, so growing up here, I knew I did not want to go.
Trying to get away.
Yeah, I didn't want to stay in the SEC.
In between. Okay.
Had a lot of Big 12 schools. Don't know why. Random, just did.
Clout.
But was also thinking of coming to Cali. I really wanted to go to UCLA, but I just wasn't smart enough. So was recruited and went to visit San Diego State, UC Irvine, but had a lot of family in Oklahoma and connections to the Oklahoma schools.
Okay.
So came down to Tulsa, OU, OSU. Had a full ride to Tulsa. Parents were like,
"That's the one.
That's
Go
the one."
That one.
But I just, when I went, it was great, but it wasn't for me.
Wasn't home.
So OU made it easy because for my unofficial visit, they just did not show up.
It's like every time I hear that, it was very unofficial. It was
It was
extremely
non-existent.
unofficial.
And when I went to OSU, they basically told me like, yeah, we're interested, but ultimately, like all our scholarships are out, so you would have to be a recruited walk-on. We'd really like to see you play at this tournament that was called the Disney Tournament in Florida.
Okay.
They came to watch me. The game they came to watch me in, I actually ended up getting a violent conduct red card and was suspended for 4 games.
And they were like, "We want her." That was right.
No, that's literally. I got an email the next day that was like, "We love your aggressive and feistiness, and we want you here." So like, I really never got bullied again. And I ended up at OSU. I was a walk-on, recruited walk-on, but by my senior year, I was on full ride.
Nice. What did you do for the red card? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I've talked about it
How'd you
multiple
earn
times. This girl had been cheap-shotting me the whole game, hitting me in the back of the neck.
Oh wow. Soccer?
Yeah. And they weren't calling it. And so second half started, and she just decked me in the back really hard one time.
It's not allowed.
Probably baffling to you, but I have a little bit of a short fuse occasionally.
Okay. No, that doesn't sound like you at all.
I know. And so I grabbed her by her head,
Oh my God.
flipped her over my knee, and kicked her. And
This turned to wrestling very quickly.
the game stopped for 15 minutes. I did not know this was a thing. I was written up, like had to write an essay about me.
Wow.
Was suspended for 4 games in the state of Florida, but then I had to go to a board of directors to carry over from state to state. And so in Georgia, I was only suspended for 2 games, so it got
Okay.
dropped down to a 2-game suspension.
You appealed again.
I appealed it. Jerome, my head coach at the time, we went to the finals. We actually won that game. They played down without me.
Oh, wow.
We won. We went to the finals. We lost in the finals, and Jerome threw a water bottle at me and said that we lost that game because I wasn't playing.
Did you learn your lesson? That's the
No,
most
I would have done
important
it
part.
again.
Oh my God.
I would have done it again. She deserved it.
Everybody here at ANF, watch out. You might get drop kicked.
Don't me in the back. College was great. Went to Oklahoma State and won most inspiring athlete on my team my senior year.
Most inspiring athlete. What does that mean?
It means started from the bottom, now we're here.
Your story is like, you're like, look, if Bailey did it, you can do it
That
too.
part, no. I'm kind of like of the essence. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Let's keep it pushing. Let's go to what our favorites are. What you got? You got
on
some
and off the
questions.
court. Let's get a little sports in here.
Okay,
right?
let's
This
get a
is a
little
sports
sports.
show, allegedly. Let's do on and off the court. So we were talking about this pre-pro.
Mm-hmm.
Who some of your favorite athletes? It doesn't have to be Atlanta specifically, but maybe athletes that you enjoy watching, you turn on. If their game's already on, you stick with it. Some favorite athletes that you have.
So, I always gravitate towards female athletes. Grew up on Mia Hamm. I think she's
Yes.
severely underrated as like one of the greatest all time, and she really put women's soccer on the map. I used to have one of her like sayings. The vision of the vision of hard work. No, I can't remember what it is. This makes me so mad because I had to remember it and I had to say it every day before I entered practice.
Were you
But
ever her for Halloween one year?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't.
It was a popular costume.
So Mia Hamm, I think Serena never really gets her flowers. My favorite thing to argue is that Wayne Gretzky is not considered enough when you talk about the greatest athletes of all time. So if you look at his numbers and what he's accomplished in the hockey world, but I just think that's because hockey isn't a popular sport, but he's right up there in my opinion
Absolutely.
with Tom Brady and Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But maybe one of my favorite athletes I've covered is Devontae Adams.
Okay, why?
I do believe he is underrated. And I guess that's kind of crazy for a guy of his stature, but I do think he's not like commended enough, especially for his route running and his releases and whatnot within the game. He's also an athlete who would tell you like it was, but he would also try and be very thoughtful with his answers, which I appreciated.
No fluff, just
No,
straight up.
it makes our jobs easier and more interesting. You learn a lot more when people are willing to be open. So yeah, that's what I got. What about you?
Okay, so let's go historical and then we'll go up to currents.
Okay.
Favorites, like ever, definitely like Kobe, rest in peace. Love the Mamba mentality, the attacking all the fine details like their championship games. Really appreciate his approach to the game. All time, definitely Matt Ryan as well. Like growing up in the city, got to see the transition from Mike Vick to Matt Ryan and just what he meant for the city, the ability to do it on the field and in the community. Don't think he gets enough respect. I'll even go out on a limb and say I think that he should be a Hall of Famer, which a lot of people don't think that he is. I think if that Super Bowl goes differently, we're having a different conversation. But if you think about numbers, impact, MVP, of course, I think Matt Ryan's in that conversation.
I don't know.
Not hearing that.
I don't know.
Favorite current athletes, I'll start with Atlanta. Michael Harris. We were just talking about this before the show. Like, I think he's just so wholesome. He kind of attacks it with that childlike joy. I know a lot of athletes, when they get into it, they realize that it's a job and it's a business and a profession. They maybe kind of lose some of that, but I see Money Mike out there, and he just kind of embodies and just really shows, like, oh, he's still having fun out there. It feels fun, and I really like seeing him. Outside of that, favorite athletes that I've covered, freshly covered Mahomes and Kelsey, and being around them and that whole Chiefs experience, it's just really cool to be part of that story, and I think when it's all said and done, that dynasty is going to ring off for a while.
They definitely go up there in the duos.
For sure.
I'm scared to push this button.
Why? I've been excited for this. I've been waiting for this. This is the main event.
You gotta go first. You gotta give me courage.
I don't know if I really have any, like...
You haven't gone on a date with one weirdo girl?
Too many weirdo girls, unfortunately. I always get like so I'm on the apps. I don't know if you've ever used the apps before.
I have. I dabble here and there occasionally. I get on for like 24 hours and I'm like, this is the worst mistake of my life, and I delete it.
I always get do you really work for the news? Or
see,
like
I lie about what I do. I don't put that I work in the news.
See, I won't put the letters or anything like that, but I will put like sports reporter or like TV sports
I feel like
reporter.
guys will, girls always
Come
don't.
on now, you got cloudy with a chance of meatballs. You know, you got to use it.
The guys need the clout. I don't need the clout.
Speaking of love, when did you fall in love with sports? You want me to go?
You go first.
As I like briefly mentioned earlier, like never a great athlete, but I loved like being around the game. Like I was always interested, like in the morning getting ready for school, like always loved watching SportsCenter. Stuart Scott was one of those people I really grew up like watching and loved how he like intertwined his own personality into it. He was obviously professional and got you up to date with what you needed to know before you got out the door, what happened in the world of sports, but for me, I just wanted to find a way to do that while also staying close to the game. I don't know. I think in high school I realized, it's not going to happen for me. Need to figure out a way. And there was a story my senior year of high school about our high school football coach leaving. I just remember running down the campus halls, like trying to track him down. I'm like, okay, like I can do this. I'm committed to this. This is more than just a passion. This is something that I want to like do professionally. So I would say high school, I think I nailed it down, like falling in love with sports. And I want to thank my parents for that because they poured into me and gave me every chance.
Shout out to moms and pops. Yeah. I would say I was just a super athletic kid.
Jealous.
Yeah. You can't relate.
Yeah, one of us is. I cannot relate.
A lot of people think this is funny and don't know this. Growing up, I played soccer, played golf, and figure skated.
Wow.
It came down to figure skating and soccer. And I chose soccer. My parents were like, we can't take you to both. You got to choose one. And I said soccer because I can hit people. I can call my dad right now and ask him, and he would tell you that's what I said.
And then you were flipping people over your knee before they knew it.
I am who I am. But I think what got me into the industry, this is a story.
We're here. Bonus episode.
This actually happened here, too.
Okay.
There was a leadership school called Ideals, and it's the top 60 athletes, which you wouldn't be aware of, obviously.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Top 60 athletes in the state of Georgia in high school, chosen by an athletic director, and you go to a school every Sunday for like 4 hours to learn how to be a better leader. I did not want to do it. But ended up having to do it. It ended up being really fun. You get to meet a lot of different athletes. And every week you learned a different skill. And one week was public speaking. So all of us, all 60 of us, had to come up, pick something out of a fishbowl, and give a 7-minute speech about it.
A lot of y'all athletes are not good at public speaking
No.
either. Like, I'm sure there were some people struggling
it was
through
brutal.
those.
And people are like back there giggling. So I chose fishing.
Okay.
So I had to get up there and talk for 7 minutes about fishing, but I was friends with a lot of the guys there, you know, and high school guys are clowns, and they're like, let's all vote for Bailey as the best speaker, so she has to give the speech at the end of the year, because the winner of this competition had to give the end of the year banquet speech in front of like hundreds of people. So they all vote for me as a joke. I win.
You got it, naturally.
I go up to Jack, the president, and I'm like, hey, Jack, like, they all voted on me as a joke. I think someone who really wants to do this should do it. And he goes, oh, no, I just do that to see who people pick. I actually decided I was going to pick you anyway, so it worked out. So I'm like, great, love that for me. So fast forward to the end of this. The banquet is the day after my junior year prom.
Okay, were you hungover?
I went to prom with, shout out to Jared Harper.
Real name.
My prom date. Yeah, I don't think he'll care.
Sure.
I think he's like he's an actor.
Oh, wow.
So like,
That's clout. Yeah, there we go.
Whatever.
Cloudy.
And everyone in our prom group went to a party that I wasn't supposed to go to. But we said it was in the neighborhood, so it wasn't a big deal. Go to the party. I took part in some extracurricular activities.
Yes, prom activities.
And
Jeez.
was not totally coherent. Got my phone stolen.
Oh.
We go back to the house, and I was not allowed to spend the night there. My parents had to come pick me up. So my mom was coming to pick me up.
You weren't even supposed to be there. Yeah.
My mom came to pick me up at 2 a.m. in the morning. And
Jeez.
I get in the car, still very much not coherent.
Under the influence.
But fighting for my life. And I tell her I lost my phone in the couch. They're going to find it for me in the morning, even though at this point I know it was well gone because we could not find it. So I wake up not feeling great.
Understandably so.
And my dad is yelling 7:30 in the morning. So I go down there. He's cleaning his car. If you knew he was cleaning his car, you knew he was big mad. Mm-hmm. So I sit there, and he is just letting me have it for going to a party I wasn't supposed to.
Because losing your phone while you're there.
This part. Long story short, the mom of the prom party told everyone. They found out we left, so it just became a thing. Oof. So I had to fess up. So all of this to say, that day was a brutal day, and I end up going to this banquet. And I'm sitting there, not feeling great still. It's like 7 p.m.
Jeez.
Not feeling great.
Yo, what did you drink?
I don't know. Milk. I'm lactose intolerant.
I see. There it is.
And Jack goes, you ready, buddy? Pats me on the back. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, your speech. You're up in 5. And I just look at my parents like, oh, no.
I actually have to do this.
And my parents look at me with such disappointment in their eyes because they know I had forgotten.
Oh.
So I get up and I take a cloth napkin to the bathroom. I found a Sharpie in the hallway. And I just bullet point. It was something.
So you've always been a note taker, basically.
I guess.
I see.
So I walked. It was out of a movie. The double doors open and they're like, and Bailey Burmaster to give her speech. And I'm sitting there with my cloth napkin like,
Here we go.
Here we go. And so I walk up there in front of like 400 people, give this speech, 20-minute speech, by the way. It has to be a 20-minute speech.
Whoa, 20 minutes.
And
You brought the house down?
Smashed it.
Smoked it.
Oh, everyone coming up to me, oh my gosh, your daughter's so great. And my dad is just, because I had failed the night before on a lot of different levels. And here I was just like.
What a redemption story.
So we get in the car. My parents have still not talked to me. They're very mad. Silent treatment. And my dad, all he says is, you get that crap from me. And then my mom, the only thing she says is, maybe you should make a career out of this. And I sat there looking out the window and you said, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Origin story.
And another part of my villain story reveals itself.
And that's how you found out you could be on air hungover, and now you do it professionally. It's crazy.
That's not, I do get IVs a lot, but not because I'm hungover, but because I get dehydrated easily, so I like to stay hydrated.
Likely story. Uh-huh.
Is that how we're going to end this? I just feel like we have so much unfinished business. I feel like I just read my diary out loud.
I like these bonus episodes. We got to make these, sports tonight. That'll always be there.
When things get stuffy.
Yeah,
We just decide to
It's
go
like
off
team
the rails
bonding in a
little bit.
way.